pleasant evening to all the participants, and I thank Kristu Jayanti Management and HOD Professor Surendranath Reddy sir and Program Coordinator Ajay sir for giving this opportunity to be a guest lecturer for today's workshop. So the goal of this particular workshop is providing a hands-on training to all the participants and when to use and what tool. Within this 1 hour, we make sure that you are all learning the basic about the SPSS and what are the tools used for what purpose, all those things you will be learning more effective manner. So this is the goal of this particular workshop. So let me, without taking much time, once again, a pleasant evening to all the participants. And today you are all there in day 2 workshop. So we are going to learn about introduction to SPSS. So whenever we are talking about the SPSS, the many people will have it in your mind, SPSS is best or Excel is best and all those comparisons will come. So let us learn what is SPSS. So here the basic, we are going to learn about the basic about SPSS and how to enter the data and what are the, when you are entering the data, what are the things you need to take care in your mind and what are the analysis, basic analysis is required before you are going for any major test. So these are all the things we are going to learn in today's workshop. So when you are entering the data, as like in Excel, we can't able to enter the data. We have to define the variables first. After defining the variables only, we can able to enter the data. Then next, when we are talking about the analysis, as I said, we can't able to do the analysis also just like that. So we have to see which analysis will be suits for what kind of data. So this SPSS software, which was launched by IBM, so we all know very well, it is a statistical package for social science. So it is a Windows-based program. It is not that much complicated. So everyone can learn and everyone can use in their day-to-day research activities. So it is commonly used in social science and business world. So in SPSS, the major advantages of SPSS, it has a capable of holding the large amount of the data. There is no such restrictions like that way. Only we can able to enter 100 respondents, 200 respondents, 500 respondents. It's not like that way. In number of respondents, we can able to enter into that. And it is the SPSS can be used to perform the various different way of entering into the data, different way of entering. So one is the data entry. You have to enter the data and we have to define the data. After defining the data only, we can able to go for analysis. So when we are going for analysis, we need to create a tables and graph and we need to give an interpretation according to the result. Whatever the result which you are getting, according to the result, we need to give the interpretation. So I hope everyone knows this. What is this? This is gadgets, am I right? So when we are talking about the gadgets, so all the gadgets is used for taking the photos. I hope you are all agreeing with me. Even through camera also you can able to take the photos. Using mobile also you can able to take the photos. Using the webcam also you can able to take the photos. But when we are talking about this product, each product has its own unique in nature, am I right? So even camera is unique in nature, phone is unique in nature, and webcam also it is unique in nature. The same way, whenever we are talking about the data analysis, each and every tool has its own unique in nature. So we should know when to use what tools. If we are not knowing this, we can't able to do the research more effectively, or we can't able to interpret any data which is given to us. So let us learn first what things what we need to use. So as yesterday the resource person Somasundaram sir is explained about the dependent variable and independent variables in detailed manner. So the dependent variables means the data that is variable which is depends on another variable. Independent means that independent variable is never depends on another variable. So that is the difference between dependent and independent variables. So we should know there are 4 tests commonly we will use in our either research paper or thesis work or whatever maybe. This is the 4 famous tools or statistical tools we will use it in our research, but many of them we don't know when we need to use all those tools. If you want to find out the association between the 2 variables, for example, A is associated with the B. If you want to find out the association between the 2 variables, then we need to use this chi-square. If you want to find out the difference between 2 variables, A is differ from the B, okay, or A is having any impact with the B. Like that way, if you want to analyze, then we need to go for ANOVA. ANOVA is mainly meant for to find out the difference between, whether any difference is there between A and B. If you want to find out like that way, then we need to go for ANOVA. And correlations, here we are going to find out the correlations between 2 variables, whether any common characteristics is there between 2 peoples, A, B, whether any common correlation is there, whether any kind of similarity is there between these 2 people. If you want to find out, then we need to go for correlations. And regression, to find out the relationship between the 2 variables. A is there, B is there, whether any relationship is there between A and B. So if you want to find out that, then we need to go for regressions. Okay, so let me come out once again. So if you want to find out the association between the 2 variables, then we will use this chi-square. If you want to find out the difference between the 2 variables, then we will use ANOVA. If you want to find out the whether there is any common characteristics is there, then we will go for correlation test. That is regression. It is meant for to find out the relationship between the 2 variables. Okay, so with that, whether we can able to proceed for our studies? No, you can't able to. So again, go back to your questionnaire and check what types of questionnaire you are having it. Are you having continuous? Continuous means whether are you having a Likert scale questionnaires or are you having a categorical type of questionnaires? Again, depends upon the questionnaire. You have to choose the analysis. What is mean by categorical variable? So it is mentioned here itself, categoric, which means that you are categorizing your options into different parts. For example, I am asking you which gender if I'm giving male and female. So what I'm doing it, I'm just categorizing the gender into 2 different pieces. Am I right? So that is said to be categorical. For example, one more example I'll give. Are you investing based on what? I'm giving A as my own, B is my family member suggestions, C is my friend suggestions, D is my own analysis I'm investing. So here also I'm categorizing the options into pieces. If I'm classifying like that, A, B, C, D, then that is said to be categorical. So if your dependent and independent both is categorical, then you need to use chi-square test. Many of them we never aware about it. So we may think that, okay, I want to find out the associations. Let me go to the chi-square. Let me find out the result. No, sometimes it won't come properly. So either you will experience type 1 error or type 2 error if you are going blindly like that. And next one, if your independent variable is categorical and your dependent variable is continuous, if that is the case, then you need to use ANOVA. Okay, again, depends upon what types of questions you are asked in the questionnaire. That is why everyone will tell when you are framing the questionnaires, be conscious, because that matters a lot. Okay, and so here independent variable, it is a continuous and categorical. In case if your independent variable is continuous and your dependent variable is categorical, then you go for correlation test. If both is continuous, then we need to go for regression analysis. There is no other go. So if you are framing the questionnaires like this, then you have to choose any one. Okay, so according to your questionnaire only, you are going for analysis. That is why, in order to check whether a question is proper or not, we are doing pilot study. Am I right? In that pilot study itself, you should be come to the conclusions for this particular questionnaire. What are the tools I am going to use? Okay, if you don't know that, then whatever the tools which you are using, it is not going to give you any kind of perfect result to you. Okay, so I hope you will understand this. Let me go to the next slide. So now we are going to I'm going to teach you first how to upload the Excel file in the SPSS. Okay, after uploading, let us learn what is there in that particular thing. Now I opened a new that is SPSS page. So now I'm going to teach you how to import the data. Okay, that is here. Whenever you are opening any new sheet, you can give type in data. So if you give OK, then this kind of sheet will be open. So always in SPSS, two types of view will be there. The first view is said to be data view, and second view in the left hand corner you can able to see two view. So the first is data view and second view is that is variable view. So data view, it will look like a spreadsheet for us. How in Excel sheet, how we are finding columns and rows, the same way it will be there. So in the columns, we are going to just define the variable. So either gender, age, demographical variable, whatever the demographical variable is there, we can enter, and whatever the items which is there in the question also, we can enter it. And in this 1, 2, 3, 4, all the rows, it is capture the respondent's response, which means that if the respondent A, what all the response it is given, so all those things we will enter in this. So this is said to be data view. And second one is said to be variable view. In this variable view only, we will define what it is. For example, if I want to type gender. Okay, so gender is the name. So here, gender is the numerical or what it will ask. So I want to enter the data in numerical form. So I just selected here numerical. The values, it is asking me. So in this value only, I am going to define what it is. The value 1. For example, I want to type the value 1. So it is for male. The label is male. So I have to add here, and 2, the value 2, it represents female. Okay, and I can give add and give OK. So which means that I already set the values here. Okay, and here again, it will ask you how many columns you want and all those things. Here, measures whether it is a scale or ordinal or nominal. So after importing the data, then I will teach you what it is. What is the scale? Scale is it is a quality. It is a quantitative in nature. Ordinal is qualitative. Even nominal also is qualitative. What is the difference between these three? I will explain in detailed manner after uploading the file. So now we need to upload the data. So here, go to File and click Open, and Data. Go to the data. Once again, I will tell you, File and Open and click the data. And here, if you have your documents, where is your documents? You have to search. So here, so this is my document. So if it is in SPSS, it will show only the SPSS file. So we are going to upload the Excel file. So we have to change this one Excel. Then only the Excel file will be visible. So I'm just clicking this. This is my Excel file. This is what I want to upload. So if I give open, it will ask me, read variables names from the first row of the data, from the first row of the data you want, which means that if I give first row, it will occupy my variables heading also. I don't want like that, so I remove this. And if I give OK, see whatever data which I have, everything is uploaded here. So like this only we have to import the data into SPSS if you want to import the data. If you don't want to import the data, then manually we need to type all those data. Some people, they won't comfortable entering the data into SPSS.
Ma'am, excuse me. Ma'am, do it once, ma'am, please.
Okay, definitely, ma'am. So we need to go for file and open and select data. After selecting the data, you have to change this one into Excel. Okay, the categories is Excel because we are going to import the Excel sheet. So we have to select Excel and give open. If you're giving open, and it will ask you, because already I just imported the data, that is why it is not asking me. It will ask you from the first row you want to replace. If you take from the first, if you tick that one from the V1, V2, it will start it will start entering the data. We don't want that to be happen, so we should untick that one and you should give OK. If you are giving OK, ma'am, then it will be, the data will be updated here. So this is all about how to enter the data into SPSS. And as I said, variable view. So here, all the variables I already defined. So as I said, this is the data view. All the data we can able to see. This is the variable view. In this variable view only, we are defining our data. So if you want to define, like this is the variable one is my gender, which means that I should give here as a gender for my reference. And I have to go to the values and I have to define what it is. So one means what? One means male. So when I'm entering the data, I don't want to enter every time male, female, male, female. If I enter one, which means that represent male. So here, so I entered one, which means male. Entered two, which means female, because I already defined like that way in variable view. So this is how we have to enter. So here it is 4, 5, 4, 5 and all is that. 4 means it is strongly, that is agree, 5 means strongly agree. Like that way I was define my variable. So it is very easy for me put the numbers rather than writing whether it is strongly agree or disagree. So that is why it will make our job very easy. But we should know what value we are assigned for what. For example, we are assigned for strongly agree 5. If we forget, then it will be a problem. Then we have to go here and we have to check what it is, what it means. Like that way, we have to go here and we have to check. Okay, next let me go to this slide. I hope you are all you can able to see the slide.
Yes, ma'am.
So now whatever I explained, that is what is there in the image. There are two types of view is there, data view and variable view. So data view where we can see the data you are using, and variable view you are defining what the data is all about. So that is the two types of view which is available. So here for sample question I gave for better understanding how to define the variables. Gender, for example, for male I'm just defining as 1, and female I am just defining 2, and age 15 to 30 I'm just assigning 1, 31 to 45 I'm assigning 2, 46 to 60 I'm assigning 3, 61 to 75 I'm assigning 4, and followed by like this. And marital status is also same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, and employment status also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I'm assigning like this, and if I define my variable, it is very easy for me to analyze the data. So as I said, see here, the gender, age group, and marital status and employment status and all will falls under what category? Can anyone?
Categorical variable.
Yeah, it falls under categorical variable. Thank you, ma'am. And now testing of data. So when we are testing of the data, there is two types of testing of the data is there. Parametric test and non-parametric test. So when we are talking about parametric test, now many of the research scholars are using this SPSS, which means that covariance-based structural equation model, which means that if we are developing any model, now it is mandatory that we have to fit our model, which means that model fitness summary is very, very important. Without model fitness summaries, if you tell that I develop my model, means nobody will accept it. Whatever the model which we are developed, we have to prove that whether model is perfect. We have to say that this model is it has come out really well, or the statistically the model is proven. Like that way we have to give an interpretation. So whenever we are talking about CBSM, so we have before developing the final model, there is a procedure. First we need to do a factor analysis. After doing a factor analysis, then we have to do a exploratory factor analysis, then confirmatory factor analysis. Exploratory and confirmatory factor analysis, there is a difference. Many of them will tell that, ma'am, I did the exploratory but I didn't do a confirmatory factor analysis. These two is very important. In exploratory factor analysis, the data, that is, which means that statistically we are talking about, when it is come to the CFA, we are talking about that is like a diagrammatical representation of the data we are projecting it, because whenever we are talking about the model should be in diagrammatic, right? So we have to give the confirmation stating that we done exploratory, that is exploratory factor analysis, statistically it is good, and also diagrammatical representation also it is fine. So if both is fine, only we can able to go for CBSEM. So if you are not doing a factor analysis, if you are not running the factor analysis, and if you are not doing a exploratory factor analysis and confirmatory factor analysis, then you have only one choice, is you need to go for PLSEM, which means that you are not developing your own model. If you are just proving whatever the other people are developed the model, with that model you are adding only one parameter and you are proving that I done this. So that particular time you need to go for PLSEM. So PLSEM, when we will go, when you are not developing in your own model, rather than you are taking the others model and you are adding 1 or 2 points with others model, and you are telling that I also did some kind of innovations in that. If you are doing like that way, then you need to go for PLSM. This PLSM, most probably they will do, all the researchers they will do using the R languages, because if you want to do it in CBSM, or that is using SPSS, if you want to do, lot of covariance error will occur. So most probably they won't prefer that. Rather than programmatically, if you do it, so anything, if you whatever you want, if you give a program, then programmatically if you are doing anything, that will be very easy for you to get the results. So that is why if anyone want to try PLSM, so preferably go for R language rather than SPSS. So this is the two types of test. If you want to develop any model, hypothesis is very important. Am I right? So if you want to set a hypothesis, two types of variable is very, very important. One is dependent variable, another one more is independent variable. So whenever we are talking about dependent variable, still many of them will have a confusion, which is dependent variable, which is independent variable. So I will give you one example. Exam scores, always it depends on student's gender. I'm just giving you one kind of statement. Exam scores depends on student's gender. So which means that there is a possibilities. Okay, based on the gender also the exam score their exam score will differ, but gender does not change depending on exam score, because if you score 100 out of 100, your gender won't be changed. Am I right? So that is why we'll always take gender as an independent variable, exam score as a dependent variable. Maybe because of your gender, there is a possibility that the exam score will differ from other people. But based on your exam score, your gender, it won't be changed. So that is why always gender is said to be an independent and exam score is said to be a dependent variable. So as I said to you, parametric statistic methods, we will use ANOVA, regression, chi-square. I already said to you for what purpose we will use what kind of statistical tools. ANOVA is used to find out the difference between two variables. Regression is used to find out the relationship between the two variables. Chi-square test is used to find out the association between the two variables. So whenever we are talking about all those things, before testing any hypothesis, there is one more test need to be done, that is nothing but normality test. One more test need to be done. What it is? That normality test. What is mean by normality test? Whether all our collected data is normally distributed or not. We need to check. For example, I distributed the questionnaire. Everyone has selected neutral. There is any normal distribution has happened there? For safer side, everyone is selected neutral. Most of my questionnaires, whomever I given, they are selected only the neutral, which means that the data is not normally distributed. If it is 100, I can able to make it out like that. In case if I am collecting 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 samples, I can't able to see whether the data is normally distributed or not. For that, we need a statistical tool. That is nothing but normality test. We have to see whether our data is normally distributed or not. If you want to see that, we need to look into the two statistical values. One is skewness and catharsis. Here, whenever we are talking about skewness, the value should be minus 1.962 plus 1.96. Within that, if it is there, within that range, if it is there, the data is normally distributed. And that is Shapiro Wilk test p-value should be 0.005. If it is that value, within that range, again, the data is normally distributed. And one more thing also, that histogram. There is two ways of checking the normality. One is using the statistical tools, we can check whether the data is normally distributed or not. And one more is using the graphs, and that is line chart, we can able to, that is QQ plot chart, they used to tell. Using that also we can able to check whether data is distributed normally or not. So let me go to the next slide and I'll explain. So here, when you want to check the normality in SPSS, so this is the procedures. Go to the analysis. If you have data set with you, please kindly try. Otherwise, I will give you the time at the end. You can do that. Otherwise, we both together we can do. So now it is visible, ma'am. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So now you need to click the analysis and go to descriptive statistic and click explore. Okay, this is how you need to do. Go to the analysis and select the descriptive and click explore. Okay, if you are after clicking the explore and like this, the small windows will pop up. Here we have to identify which is dependent, which is independent. So as I said earlier, which is dependent, which is independent, anyone can answer?
Dependent is exam score.
Okay.
Independent is gender.
Gender. So we have to put it in the respective columns and click on statistics. So after click on statistics, we have to click the factor level together and histogram, and normally the normality plots with the test. So these, whatever it is there, all those should be enabled. After that, if you do this kind of result, we will get it. There is another column called output column. In that output column, it will be visible. After this, I will explain practically. Now again, going to that screen and coming here, it is little difficult. Let me explain, and I will go to the SPSS and I will show you how to do practically also. And here, so here, gender is there, and this one here, gender, male and female, both we will get skewness as well as kurtosis values. So here, if the skewness value, as we said in the earlier screen, the skewness and kurtosis value should be minus 1.962 plus 1.96. So here what we are getting 0.374 and 0.365, which is there within that particular range. It is there, am I right, ma'am? Minus 1.962 plus 1.96. So if it is there within that particular range, which means that the data is normally distributed. So both the values are there within that particular range, which means the result indicates that data are normally distributed. And one more, with this we can't able to conclude, and one more thing also we have to do it. So here 3.74 divided by 3.65, so which means that 1.02, this value is between this. So here also if you do that, and we will get the same thing. And with that we can't able to tell whether the data is normally distributed or not. Once again we have to see the significant value, which means that p value. So that is yesterday Somu sir was said significant values. We here in SPSS we will tell significant value, but in statistically we will tell p value, that is. So p value should be less than 0.05, means we will reject the null hypothesis and we will accept the alternative hypothesis. Here the null hypothesis is rejected if the p value is below 0.05. Here our p value is more than that, so we are accepting the null hypothesis, which means that our data is normally distributed, so we can go for further testing of our hypothesis. So first, here we are checking it whether the range is there, within that range is there or not. That is the first confirmations we are doing it. And second, we are checking the significance value. So here also it is there within that range. So we are moving to the next. As I said, normalities we can do it in two ways. The first way is all about checking the statistically values, and second one, visually also we need to check. Am I right? So when we want to check the visually, here it is there. If all your values, all the data is near to this particular line, whatever the line which is drawn, if it is near to the particular line, which means that data are normally distributed, we can confirm like this way. So if it is not near to this, here and there it is scattered, then we can't able to say the data are normally distributed. This is one more way which we can able to interpret. And this is how you need to write the result. When you are writing the interpretations, many of them will do the analysis, because if you watch the YouTube or somewhere, they will teach you how to do all those tests, but we should know how to write interpretation also.
Ma'am,
so
excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
can you just explain the p-value for testing normality, ma'am?
Okay. So this is the p-value, ma'am. Usually if the p-value is below 0.05, we will reject the null hypothesis. Once if you are rejecting the null hypothesis, we should accept the alternative hypothesis. But whenever you are accepting the null hypothesis, okay, that time only the normality is normal. So here our p-value is more than 0.005, which means that we are accepting the null hypothesis. If we are accepting the null hypothesis, the normality is good. The data is normally distributed, vice versa.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. And next test, we are going to learn about reliability test. So when we are talking about the reliability test, many of them will ask why we need to do a reliability test. Directly we will go and we will do whatever that is hypothesis which is set. We will prove, or we will tell it is proven, or it is not considered like that way. We will say and we will go. That is not the right way of doing it, because we need to know all the variables are internal consistency. All the variables are having the internal consistency between the variables or between the items. We should know. So if we are not doing a reliability test, which means that we are not grouping any of the items. The items are just like that. It was there. You are not grouping the items. When you have started to grouping the items, then we need to go for reliability, because we will have a variables. For example, I can say like this way. So the exam score depends on many parameters. The student's exam score depends on many parameters. One is the ability of the student. Maybe he will learn, he'll grasp the things quickly. That is why he can able to score good marks. And next one, mental stability of the student. The student is very keen in learning the things. That is why he is doing it. So this is the variables. So the ability of the student is the variable. And to check the ability of the students, I have 4-5 items or 4-5 questions. So all 4-5 questions I am grouping in the variable name called ability. So that should be done. So if you do that grouping, if you are doing, then we need to go for reliability test. The reliability test only will tell all those items are internally consistent or not. All the items are having internal consistency or not. If you want to check this, then reliability test is very, very important. So whenever we are talking about the reliability test, again, two important things is we need to give two things we need to give an importance. The one is observed variable, another one more is unobserved variable. Unobserved variables are said to be a latent variables. Unobserved variables are said to be what? Latent variables. Let me explain what is observed, what is unobserved variable. For examples, here there is a question. For check the reliabilities, I taken the two variables. Intention is said to be a variable. In intention, 6 items are there. So this is all the things is said to be items. Don't confuse between variables and items. Variable is here intention. So intention is said to be a variable, which means that, so this is said to be, this is intention and attitudes are said to be unobserved variables. So these are all the things, whatever items you are having, that is said to be observed variables. Any doubt, dear? Dear participants, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this is said to be intention, and attitudes are said to be unobserved, and whatever the items which we are having, that is said to be observed variables. So now let us know how to do this particular test. So there is a tab called analysis. So go to analysis and select scale and select reliability analysis. So once again, I will repeat, go to the analysis bar and select scale and check reliability analysis. So if you are, after clicking that, and you will get the values like this. There is a pop-up will appear. So in that, there is output windows will appear. In that window, you can able to see the reliability result. So the Cron patch alpha is 8.61 for 6 items. So for 6 items, it is considered. For that 6 items, this is the alpha value. So you have a doubt, ma'am, which range, if it is there, my reliability is good. I can able to proceed for next analysis. So if your alpha value is 0.9, it is excellent. It is between 0.9 to 0.8, it is good. And 0.8 to 0.7, it is acceptable. 0.7 to 0.6 is questionable. If it is less than that, it is poor. If it is less than 5, you should not accept. It is unacceptable. So we should not accept, which means that you can't able to proceed further analysis with that particular data set. Okay, so let me explain how to do this one practically. Let us check the reliability for given particular data. So go to the analysis. Go to analysis and click scale. And here is an option called reliability analysis. Click that one. So you have to select the items for which items you are going to do a reliability test. So because as I said, I was going to do like this way, gender score is there. So with that only I'm going to try. So ability one, that is based on the ability of the student only, score is determined. So for that to just do some kind of analysis I have, but now I'm going to check only the reliability of the data. So I'm going to group all those things, that is ability 1, ability 2, ability 3, ability 4. This, which means that all four items I grouped under the heading called ability. Okay, so I'm just going to transfer this, which means that if you want to transfer all together, you have to hold Control plus and click. Once again, I will do it for you. So this is the one. Just give escape. So go to analysis and click scale and click reliability and select using control. You can select multiple things. For example, I'm just purposely I'm doing with the gender. Okay, so I want to be kept it here. Now, wrongly, I just included gender also. Now I don't want gender. Don't go for reset and don't do it again. You can click here and again, if you press this icon, it will go there. So now I want to check only for this 4. So I'm just giving the heading called ability. I'm just defining this one, ability. So click here. So this is the score point for this is the manipulated data for just to teach you. I just took the data. So this is not original data. Now I am getting the values 0.368, which means that it is not in good range. So with this particular data, you can't able to go for it. You can't able to go for further analysis. So this is how you have to take a call. So like this way, all the variables you need to do. So this is for only one variable I did. Another one more variables I need to do it. For example, state of mind. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 items is there. So all the items I have to take it like this. So here scale, reliability test and state of mind. So I'm going to take this 4. Okay, and I want to check now overall now. I don't want to see one by one. I want to check overall the reliability. So I'm just checking it. So now all those items put together is 6.25. Again, it is not enough that much. It is the reliability is between the items. It is not there. So we can't able to proceed. In case if you are proceeding also, it's fine. But ensure that you are going for, in at least in futures, you are going for more sample size. Okay, so that we have to be taken care. So this is all about reliability. Next, we are going to learn about how to check the sample adequacy. The one more is there. Let me stop sharing this. So any doubt how to check reliability? Shall I move to the next one? Next test. So next we are moving to sample adequacy test. So many of them will have a doubt whether whatever the sample size which I collected, that is sufficient for me to do a following test or not. So if you have that kind of doubt in your mind, so you can go for sample adequacy test. Whatever sample which you are collected, whether it is sufficient for you to do the data analysis. If you want to know that, then you can go for sample adequacy test. Using that test, you can able to find out whether your sample is adequate or not. So when you are checking the sample adequacy test, you will get the values like this. Okay, so that this values, whatever the KMO values, this we will tell KMO values. So this KMO value should be more than 8, which means that it is great, and more than 7 itself we can consider. But still, if you have more than 8, there is no discrepancies that will happen when you are doing any analysis. So your data is whatever the sample which you had, it is perfect. You can able to proceed for whatever analysis you want to proceed. So let me tell you how to do this particular analysis. So go to analysis. Here there is a dimension reductions will be there. Click on that and go for factor analysis. Okay, if you're going for factor analysis, here I want to check only my variables. In variables, whatever items is there, because using the variables only I'm going to test for all my hypothesis. So I want to check only this. This is my it is my assumption like that. However you are feeling it, you can go ahead and you can check the sample adequacy, because I want to check only this items whether my sample is enough or not. So I'm just transferring into that and go to the descriptive and click here KMO battle test. There is an option is there, enable that one and give continue and give OK. So here it will be there. So as I said,
ma'am, we couldn't follow you. Please repeat it, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
No issues, ma'am. Go to analysis and click scale, and there is an option called reliability analysis. Click that one, and whatever you want to select and whatever the variables you want to check whether your data is sufficient or not, because usually all our hypothesis variables 100% we need to check. So I just transfer all the items here, and you have to go here statistics and click give OK, and it will be done. You will get the data.
In statistics, what we are supposed to select?
In statistics, I selected, ma'am. That is why it is not coming. Okay, once again I will tell you, ma'am. Here, item scales. If you want to select item scale, and scale if item is deleted, in case in any of the item which is deleted in the scale also, that also should be displayed here. So that is why I'm selecting all those 3 and I'm giving continue and give OK, ma'am. Then it will becomes like item wise also. Item wise, what is the mean, standard deviations and everything you will get it, and even you will get consolidated the reliability statistical value also. Any doubt, ma'am? Okay. So this is how we need to do the reliability analysis. Because I was come to this SPSS, let me teach you how to do the basic statistics, because many of them you need to know what is how to calculate mean, median, mode, all those things. That is said to be a central tendency. So how to check this central tendency, that also I will tell you. Usually the people will go for descriptive statistic and they will click descriptive analysis and they will take whatever they want. They will check this, for example, gender or score. I want to check mean, median, mode. So these 2 I am taking. I'm giving here options will be there. If I'm going with this, I will get only mean and standard deviations, because after seeing the descriptive, everyone will select this descriptive and they will go here and click mean and standard deviations and they will give continue. If you are doing like this, you won't get median and mode values. only you will get minimum, maximum, mean and standard deviations value. So rather than instead of doing like this way, and you can do it like this, go to the analysis and click descriptive statistics and click frequency. If you are clicking this frequency, for example, here also I want to know the mean, median value of gender as well as score. I'm clicking this too, and go here, click statistics. Here all three options will be there: mean, median, mode, and you can give now continue. So you will get all those values in one particular table. So mean, median, mode, all those things you are getting in single table. So kindly go for, if you want to check mean, median, more basic statistic about your data set, don't go for here statistical test and don't go and click statistic, that is descriptive, rather than go for frequency. So you will be getting much more effective result. Clear, ma'am? Okay. One more thing also here. So we were initially we were learning about the normality test, right? So here analysis, that also will tell you how to do it. Go to analysis and click descriptive and click explore. Okay. So here whatever you want, for example, score should be dependent, gender should be an independent variable, and click here statistics and give continue and go to the plot. Here I want histogram and normality plot with test. So this I'm clicking and continue. And whatever you want, you can click. There is no rule that we need to select only this item. So if I'm selecting like this, say I got the normality value for whatever the data set which I had right now. But here, because of cooked data, the data is normal. It is not distributed normally. You can able to see. Normally distributed means we are not expecting everything should be perfectly distributed. At least here and there it should be. So which means that we are expecting like approximately, at least approximately the data should be distributed. So if it is not perfectly distributed also, so the diagrammatical representation always will give you the good interpretation. See here, few of the things is scattered, which means that from here to here, there is a little bit of normally distribution has happened. One particular region it is not happened, which means that where it is not happened, we have to see. So if you want to check, then we have to go and see here. Both the values are significant because it is less than 0.005. It's fine. But here as I said, we have to divide these two values. If you are dividing these two values, your value should be minus 1.96 to plus 1.96. Maybe here we are lacking. We are not getting the within that range value. That is why the data is not normally distributed. If you want to check, you can check. Minus 1.768 divided by 0.319. If you put, it will be the value should be more than minus 1.96. Okay. Any doubt, ma'am? Shall I stop sharing this one? Let me go to the slide. Okay, so as I said to you, KMI bottle test, the value should be like this. If it is like this only, your sample is adequate and you can able to proceed for further analysis. In case if the sample is not adequate, then you can go for little more respondents and try to identify, or otherwise there is two possibilities is that sample is not adequate. Maybe you would have gone for 1,000 respondents and you are collected the data, but all the if the after collecting the 1,000 the respondents from the response also, if the sample adequate is not proper, means they are not right respondent for that particular questionnaire. So we have to change entirely, we need to change our respondent base, which means that we have to look into other respondents, because that is not our cup of tea. So we have to move to other persons. So that is what is one way of looking into that. Another way of looking into that, maybe you would have collected only the 100 samples, but based on your variables, if you see, maybe you have 50 variables. For 50 variables, only 100 samples, it doesn't work out. So you have to see into that perspective also. So you have to take a call here, whether if the value is very less, then you have to take a call where it is went wrong, and we have to correct accordingly. And as I said to you, descriptive statistics. So as I said to you, you need to go for descriptive and you have to select the frequency. Even you can select the descriptive, but if you are selecting the descriptive, few values you can't able to find in that. So you need to go for descriptive statistics and select all those things, mean, median, mode, and you will get the proper output in one particular table. So better you can go for doing that. Okay. So in today's workshop, we learned about how to do the normality test and how to do the reliability test, and followed with sample adequacy test and this basic descriptive test also I said, and which tool and which types of questionnaire and what types of tools we need to use. All those things we discussed in today's workshop. So dear, let me wind up with the quote. The learning is not a destination. It is a continuous process. Please keep that in mind. So everyone will learn continuously and we will upgrade our skills. So any questions?
Dear participants, now the forum is open for questions. Just in case if anyone has questions, you may raise your hand. We'll be happy to unmute you and you can ask your questions.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Can you explain once again CBSE? I didn't follow it. That is a covariance based structural equation modeling. When we go for this test, and before that is going for this test, whether we should run the factor analysis, exploratory, and what purpose we would do the structural equation modeling.
Okay. So CBSEM, it is like there is covariance based structural equations. If you want to develop your own model, then we will go for this particular thing.
Yes.
So whenever we are doing this CBSEM, we can't able to directly, we can't able to prove the end model. So first we have to go by step. So the first one is EFA, which means that exploratory factor analysis. So here we are checking statistically all the items are there in the conditions to test the hypothesis. It is just a statistical explanation, sir. And followed with, because we are going to develop a model. So theoretical, this is explanation also is very important. Theoretically also we have to prove that this data is enough for us to proceed the final model. So for that, we are going ahead with the confirmatory factor analysis. Then only we are going for checking the final models. So when you are checking the final models, there are a lot of indices we need to consider: CFI, GFI, and RG. CM, something is there. So all those things we have to check whether it is there in the reference